So I'm live here today from the National Veterans Small Business Coalition in Orlando, Florida. We're hosting my 13th Vets Conference. So this one is Vets 25. And I wanted to do our second podcast live from another conference. As many of you are aware, we did our last podcast from the 8A National Conference in New Orleans, Louisiana. And what a joy that was. And today, I am really honored, really privileged to have with us what I would consider to be one of our next business partners and a very successful businessman in his own right. A guy who's literally become a small business that started to dominate and control the prefabricated steel industry. And so with us today, we have Bobby Mesmer. And I can't think of a better way for Bobby to introduce himself and for us to introduce him than having him tell us a story. So Bobby, give us your story about how is it that you started from being just a small businessman that was throwing something together to get on a contract into literally dominating the U.S. steel prefabricated market?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here, an honor to be around all the vets here. Thank you, everybody, for your service and your commitment to our country, first of all. This is great. So, and thank you for having me on this cast. And I mean, back 25 years ago, I started this business. Started out as a general construction company, actually dove into doing federal and municipal work as a prime contractor. And it was good work. We grew through that process and grew through the assistance of the government, is what I'd like to say. It really put us in a good position as a company to really sustain our growth and gave us a good foundation. Over the course of time, we got involved in some contracts that involved pre-engineered steel buildings, and we couldn't find anybody to erect them. And so we were always a self-performing company. Like I always had the companies or crews on, within my organization that we would self-perform, whether it be drywall or concrete or whatever. So when I couldn't find an erector to get on a government base to do an airplane hangar for me, I kind of was like, all right, let me put together my own crew of guys. And that's what we did. And I went out there with them and we erected the building. And after I was done, I remember standing back and being like, wow, that's it? I can't find anybody to do this for me? Like, what is going on here? What's the problem? Then another bid comes out. We bid it. We didn't win the bid. Another prime won the bid to build another hangar. The prime calls us and says, hey, I can't find anybody to erect the building. Who, can you help me? And I'm like, who'd you use? And I said, well, we did it ourselves. He's like, can I hire you? And lo and behold, the erection side of our business is found. It outpaced our general construction side of the business. We ended up closing that after about 10 years, a little bit more than that actually. And we just kept going with the pre-engineered side and just kept growing it from there in all facets of work: municipal, government, private, industrial, warehousing. And we only focused on really being an erector at the time. We didn't focus on anything else. And then what we did was we really started to diversify ourselves, and we listened to what the customers in all facets of the business wanted. And so we got involved in manufacturing our own buildings, engineering and detailing, as opposed to outsourcing like most people do. So we brought all the engineering and detailing in-house. And then that continued to expand itself. So, we were the only company at the time who was doing that. And then some other companies started doing that. And then now we're like, well, what else do our customers need? They need design build services. So we were like, well, being that we're engineers already, we brought the architecture in-house, we brought the engineering in-house, and we started doing full design build, construction administration, construction management, not at risk services. And then we would go in and still provide on those same contracts the steel, which is always a pain point for everybody. So then we would do the steel piece of it and the erection piece. And it just made sense. So now we are truly the only vertically integrated company in this business that's doing this. Everybody does one or two pieces of it, but nobody's truly doing everything that we're doing in that vertical alignment. And at this point now, we're the number one largest pre-engineered steel erection company in the entire world, one of the largest purchasers of fabricated steel in all of America. We're one of the top 3 purchasers of bar joists and decking in all of North America. We take pride in helping. We come at it from the avenue of, hey, what can we do to help you? How can we create value to your project? And how could we bring value, whether it's through cost efficiency or just producing the product faster and creating efficiency that way, where you can't put a value on time.
What a story. I've heard that's the second time now. I love that story. It's just another classic example of taking a vision, taking a dream, taking a desire, and putting substance to it so that you grow and you end up employing people. How many employees you have?
Right now, I think we're over 300 total,
Okay.
and that doesn't include some of our other manufacturing facilities. If you included everybody in the whole group, we're probably well over 1,500, I would say.
Not
You know,
exciting.
and we're still growing from there. We have an office in Costa Rica, we have an office in Montana, we have an office in New Jersey, another one in Nashville, and we're still continuing to grow. To your point, though, like it's about listening to people. It's about differentiating yourself in the business to do something different and more efficient.
So I think the more you keep executing, you keep implementing your vision, you keep doing what you do because it's the right thing to do. We've talked a lot about that.
I like to say a lot, like a lot of people are money driven, right?
Yeah.
That's why you get into business. You know, you get into business because you want to make money. For me, I always say, keep your head down, focus on the work, the money shows up. That's the big takeaway. Everybody wants to be like, how much money can I make? They're either top line driven or bottom line driven. You got to be both, but focus on the work. Focus on being an expert in what you say you're going to do. Focus on trying to be the best. If you focus on being the best, you will get the notoriety that you're seeking, and the money shows itself up at that point. And so that's the key factor that people miss in all sorts of businesses, small to large.
That is so good, because when you focus on the money, then you're focusing on the money, and the customer gets left out of the equation.
1,000%. Well,
Yeah.
you're not focusing on the job at hand.
Right,
You're only
very good.
focusing on one aspect of it. The money's a byproduct of what you're creating.
Right.
So treat it as such. It doesn't matter how much money you have. How good are you at what you're doing?
I love it. So, that leads right to my next question. 3 or 4 times in your story, you mentioned the idea of self-performance.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you speak to self-performance a little bit? Why would you encourage a business to self-perform when I can sub it out and put a margin on top?
Because I think it goes to your value, right? Like I come from a strong value of integrity. Do as you say you're going to do and follow through with it. When you come from that value and from when you start with that value, you have to maintain a level of quality control. And you can't maintain quality control or commit to the promises that you're making when you sub out to somebody. Because you are now beholding to their schedule, you're beholding to their issues, you're beholding to whether they can wait to get paid for 30 days like the rest of us have to. Do they have the right insurance? There's so many factors there that affect everything. And the biggest thing is what are you putting out? What is the product that you are putting out at the end of the day? What product are you committing to? Because nobody's going to commit to the same standard that you're setting forth. So for me, it was always about, I am not going to sub out the work because I have a standard that I want to keep, that I'm promising to my customer base that I have to deliver, and I can't do that through the sub.
Yes.
I can't deliver the time constraints that I want to deliver. I can't deliver certified people like we have in our company. Like all of our erectors out there in the field are all MBI certified, AISC certified. They're all OSHA 30. Nobody else has that. You go out to these other sub companies that are big and small. They have OSHA 10 guys. They're not MBI certified guys. They're not all of these things that, to me, should be a very level standard. So now you're sacrificing quality and you're sacrificing the control. And really, at the end of the day, like I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I want to have that process in hand too.
I really think you can call yourself a control freak, but I think the real value and benefit to self-performance is seeing that the standard that you set is being met at every level of the job. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the customer wants that. Like if you're going to sit at a table and sell yourself, no matter if it's an open bid job, a public bid job, a government job, a private job, however you're getting that, you still have to sell yourself. You have to commit to something that they are wanting you to deliver. And if part of that is a standard that you're going to set, you have to be able to control that standard. That's how you get more work.
Oh, that's so good.
We talked about that earlier, right? Like we talked about the idea that like if you set a standard, the government wants to deal with somebody who sets that standard and follows through with the standard.
Sets it high, right?
And sets it high.
And meets a great expectation. Like I can really count on this company to do exactly what they said and do it earlier than they said and probably under budget.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And that's what the government wants. We call that best value.
Yep.
So we talked about a little bit about self-performance, and let's talk a little bit about how you and I met. So we're looking at the potential of a joint venture, specifically looking at a mentor-protege. Why would a large business like yours want to enter into a mentor-protege joint venture?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think for us, I think that there's vets out there that have the status that want to do something, and they have the ability, and the government gives them that access. The problem is they don't know how. And so if I can be a resource to help give my knowledge to them, to help them build something, and I can mentor them in how you do it right and how you build it, then that's the greatest gift that I can give. And then they give the gift back of taking the knowledge, and they're successful, and now they're another resource, a good resource, because I can train them in the same philosophies that I have and mentor them in the same philosophies that I'm putting out there. So now the government is getting another great resource that they can trust and depend on, and then I can sit back and say I did something and I accomplished something.
I love that. So it may sound altruistic and all that, right? But the bottom line is that the beneficiaries of it are the end user, the government. In our case, we're all government contractors, and that's the purpose of this podcast. But also the SDVOSB themselves, because now they're going to grow and be able to hire vets.
Correct. And then you're putting more people to work. Vets need jobs. Like we're looking at opportunities to hire vets. We're like in all sorts of capacities. We have so many job openings in our business right now. Like we're looking for project managers, construction managers, people that can come in, superintendents, people to travel, vets. We're starting a trucking business, and I want to hire vets. Good truck drivers, good guys that are dependable, so it opens up a resource that is unlimited, and you have all these good qualified guys out there that for whatever reason, they're being looked over for whatever reason. And I don't know that's fair. I was told one time, and this is true, the greatest gift that I can give is my time. The greatest gift that I can give back is my time and the things that I've learned. And if somebody, even if it's just one person, can take that and learn something from me, then I've done my job. And that's what I hope for.
That is awesome. So, wow, that was really special. We went way over time, but I love it. And we won't cut one bit of it. If you could leave one parting thought for the audience to really take and execute or implement in their business that could potentially change it forever, what would that be?
I would say take on and value the mistakes that you make. All right. Everybody's so focused on doing so well, and everybody's so focused on doing and telling everybody about how well they're doing. My first question to everybody is, what mistake have you made recently? Take those mistakes, take what you learn from them, reflect on everything that you're doing, reflect on your business, reflect on the mistake, and grow from it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The mistakes that you make are not what holds you back. It's you that holds you back. The mistakes that you make are what propel you into your growth. And reflect on your mistakes and embrace them and move yourself forward.
Oh, what a thought that is, audience, because I want to tell you, probably the biggest reason the majority of us go out of business is because we won't face our failures.
Mm-hmm.
We won't deal with our mistakes. We won't admit them. I'm too good for that is our common thought. And I want to challenge you. It's okay if you make a mistake, because the learning from it is amazing, right? And I think of my company almost has been out of business 3 times over the last 25 years. And every time we've come out of it and been better for it.
Yep.
And I want to tell you something else, and I really appreciate this. When Bobby was talking about self-performance, I have a job right now where I'm under the gun to provide a service that we weren't ready to provide until the beginning of June. I just changed my mind, and tomorrow we're going to start self-performing that.
Love it.
And I want to just share that with you. It's a small
that's
piece,
amazing. Love
small
it.
piece of the equation, but I'm changing my mind right now. I'm not going to fight the government. We're going to do what the customer wants,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we're in business.
And they'll
to do.
appreciate you for that.
And they will. They'll appreciate the flexibility of saying, "Hey, I was holding out for something that you don't have a right to hold out for," right? So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you, Bobby. That was awesome.
Thank you very
And
much.
I can't
for
wait
having
to
me.
do business with you.
Looking forward to it.
I look forward to it as well.